I was putting on my coat when the text came in. It was already late afternoon. I'd taken my time getting ready for once pressed shirt, decent shoes, the watch my daughter gave me 5 years ago when she said she was finally proud of how I handled things after her mother passed. Sunday dinners had become her idea. She said it was important to keep family consistent. I appreciated that. At my age, consistency can feel like oxygen. My phone buzzed again before I reached the door. Kalam M. Nangu, Daugo Tiaki R. Martin. Mart does not use capital letters. He does not dramatize. He bills in 6-minute increments and speaks like a man who has never rushed for anything in his life. I stared at the message longer than I should have. I called. He answered on the first ring. Are you on your way? He asked. About to leave. Don't. A pause. Not theatrical, not panicked. Just firm. I need you to check your email. I forwarded something. I turned around slowly, set my keys back in the bowl by the door, and walked to the kitchen table. I don't remember sitting down, but I was sitting when I opened the attachments: draft documents, property restructuring, durable power of attorney, transfer provisions, effective immediately upon signature. My name, her name, today's date. I don't understand, I said, though I already did. Martin spoke evenly. Her attorney's office requested expedited review last week, claimed you were planning to consolidate assets. They wanted clean execution, no delay. I didn't authorize that. I know. There was a small sound in my throat that might have been a laugh. Sunday dinner. She was going to ask me to sign. Yes, not steal, not forge, nothing dramatic, just guide. If I signed those documents as written, control over nearly everything, house, investments, discretionary accounts, would shift to her authority, immediately legally. She said she wanted to help me simplify things. I heard myself say, perhaps she believes that? Martin replied. But the scope goes well beyond simplification. I scanned the clauses again, language that looked tidy but carried weight. Revocable in theory, complicated in practice. She chose today, I said quietly. Yes, there are moments when anger would be easier. Anger clarifies, it gives you posture. What I felt was rearrangement. Conversations from the past 6 months drifted back differently. Her questions about my will, casual remarks about how confusing my accounts must be, the gentle insistence that I shouldn't be handling all this alone. I had mistaken management for concern. Have I done something wrong? I asked. No, Martin said. But you are about to. If you go there unprepared, he explained that he had already placed a temporary hold on any unilateral filings after noticing the pattern of urgency from her side. He didn't accuse. He simply ensured nothing could be processed without my direct informed instruction. Authority had intervened quietly, professionally. Do you want me to come by? He asked. No, I said after a moment. Not yet. I removed my coat and folded it over the back of the chair. Then I sent her a message. I won't make dinner today. We'll talk this week. Her response came almost immediately. What? Is everything okay, Dad? We already started cooking. A few minutes later. Is this about the paperwork? I was going to explain everything. There it was, not confusion. Sequence. I did not reply. The call started, 3 in a row, then a voicemail, light, almost annoyed. Dad, this is unnecessary. It's just planning. I sat there for a long time, listening to the refrigerator hum. It struck me that I had been lonely enough to feel grateful for any structure she offered. I had not questioned why every discussion of my future centered around her administration of it. When we finally met 3 days later, it wasn't at her dining table. It was in Martin's office, neutral walls, neutral lighting, a long table with documents placed carefully in the center, not as weapons, just as facts. She walked in composed, slightly flushed, but composed. Dad, this feels extreme, she said before sitting down. Martin didn't speak. He didn't need to. I let her talk. She framed it as protection, efficiency, avoiding probate complications, making sure nothing falls apart if something happens to me, all reasonable words. Why was it effective immediately? I asked. She hesitated a fraction of a second, but it was there. That's just standard language. It isn't, Martin said calmly. Silence followed. Not explosive, just heavy. I was trying to help, she said. Softer now. I believe you think that, I answered, and I did. That was the complicated part. I don't think she saw herself as manipulative. I think she saw herself as practical, efficient, entitled to streamline what would one day be hers anyway. But she had timed it with dinner, with warmth, with food and familiarity. That part was not accidental. I won't be signing these, I said. Her jaw tightened, not outrage, but recalculation. Then what are you going to do? I'm restructuring, I replied, with independent oversight, professional executor. Clear boundaries. Her eyes flicked to Martin. So you don't trust me. Trust? That word landed differently now. I don't delegate authority without conversation. I said, not anymore. The shift wasn't loud. There was no speech about betrayal, no accusation of greed, just structure replacing assumption, control returning to its owner. The documents were revised over the following weeks, transparent, balanced, safeguards in place. She remained a beneficiary. She did not remain in control. Sunday dinners paused. She reached out twice since then, once about a recipe, once about a plumbing issue. Ordinary things. The conversations were polite, measured. Something thinner exists between us now. Not hatred, not estrangement, awareness. Last Sunday, I found my coat still hanging where I left it that afternoon. I ran my hand over the fabric and thought about how easily affection can become leverage when left undefined. I don't know what our relationship will become, but I know this. Power does not always shift in raised voices or slammed doors. Sometimes it shifts when you take off your coat, sit back down, and decide not to sign.